And then after the pitch to the second grade, the kids were passing out the forms, and they put one on one little girl's desk, and she gave it back. And she said, "No, thank you." And they said, "Well, just take it home and ask your parents." And she said, "No, don't make me." And they said, "Well, just ask." And she burst into tears, hysterical. "You can't make me, don't make me." They got it out of her. She thought a blood donor was like a heart donor, and you had to die first. And she didn't know whether to ask her mother or her father. But she took one for her big brother. You know, what a trooper, willing to make that sacrifice. On Blood Drive Day, we passed out refreshments. We helped people fill out their forms. We gave a press conference. All the press showed up. We made all the reporters give blood. They didn't want to do that. We had a daycare center for all the preschoolers so that you had no excuse for not coming in, and we did little games and art projects with the preschoolers. We have measurable goals. Our goal was to get 40 people to come in. And at the end of the day, we had over 90 donors who rolled up their sleeves and became heroes in the eyes of their children. My kids were on cloud 9. I have never seen them like that. It was just amazing. It was like 7 o'clock at night. The blood drive people had gone home. The kids were helping me clean up the daycare center, my classroom, and we were scraping the Play-Doh off the ceiling. And they didn't want to go home. They just kept reliving the moment. They kept laughing about Mr. Fraser fainting. It was, I mean, they had such a great time. And it was then that one of my students, a young man who was known for being totally unremarkable, really quite average, certainly nothing special, came up to me. And what he said to me changed my life. He had this smile on his face. It was too big. He was glowing. And he said to me, "Mrs. Eskelsen, how many lives do you think we saved today?" And I said, "Oh, you know what? I forgot something. I'll be right back." And I stepped out into the hall because I thought I was going to cry. I get very emotional. I had never been so totally ashamed of myself in my life. I had never seen that look on that little boy's face. And suddenly it occurred to me that maybe it was because I had always thought of him as being totally unremarkable, certainly quite average, certainly nothing special. Somehow, in spite of me, he had discovered his worth as a human being. He was someone who saved lives. And I promised him, I promised all of my students that I would never shortchange them in that way again. They would never become their test scores, their sloppy handwriting, their late homework. I looked over at the president of the Utah Taxpayers Association sitting there, desperately trying to remember what he had asked me to come and speak about. And he had a little tear in his eye. I said, "Howard, blood drives aren't on the Stanford Achievement Test. And by the way, I've looked at it, and neither is leadership or art or music or organizational skills or creativity or perseverance or service or enthusiasm or how many lives we save today." I said, "Howard, I'm not against tests. Ask my kids. They'd fall over laughing if you said Miss Eskelsen is against giving tests. They think I give too many tests. I'm a radical. I actually used to test things I taught, but that's a whole nother speech. When my kids were worried about Matthew, I didn't have to say, "Sorry, Matthew's not on the core curriculum. Turn your test booklet to page 52. I told that audience I made a promise to my kids, and I need you to help me keep that promise. Don't narrow our vision of what it means to teach. We will reject a factory model of quality control that assumes we are test technicians given lumps of raw material that if we just pour the ingredients in just right from a script from a textbook, that our kids can be plugged in and perform to specifications. I said, expect more from us. We are amazing people. Because it is a perk of our profession that we so often become better people because of the lessons we learn from our boys and girls. And they have taught us not to underestimate them. Don't you underestimate them. And I sat down and I got this thunderous ovation from the Utah Taxpayers Association, and I know I did a good job because Howard never asked me back. Justice has come so far in making sure that any child can walk into any public school and be welcome. Now we have to make sure that every public school is as good as the best public school. The best public school cares about the whole child. Politicians have a lot to say about what that school is going to look like. But you and your congregations and me and my teachers and millions of people who organize their voices to shout justice to power will have a lot to say about who those politicians are. The world is full of foolishness and danger and injustice, but it is also full of hope because we live in a place that says, what are you going to do about it? We live in a place that says you're supposed to do something about it. You have a circle of influence. You have power. And I don't mean just the role that you play in your work. I'm talking about the people that are in your family, the next door neighbor, the people that stand next to you in line, the folks that sit next to you in church. These are people that trust you, that respect you. Bring these needs to their attention and tell them there are candidates running for public office, mayors, governors, the President of the United States. As you make up your mind who you will support as a good citizen, ask about their plans to return sanity to our public schools. Ask about their plans to teach the whole child. Ask about their plans to return schools to the sacred mission that I believe they were designed to accomplish. And it's a mission that is written across my heart. Give me your hungry children, your sick children, your homeless, your abused children. Give me your children who need love as badly as they need learning. Give me your children who have talents and gifts and skills, and give me those that have none. Give them all to me in whatever shape they come, whatever language they speak, whatever color their skin, wherever they find God. Give them to me. And the people in this public school will give you the doctors and the lawyers and the scientists and the carpenters of tomorrow. We'll give you the thinkers and the builders and the artists and the dreamers and the mothers and the fathers. We will give you the American dream. We will give you the future. And that is a future worth fighting for. That is a cause worth fighting for. Lift up your voice in this just cause. Y mil gracias, mis hermanos y hermanas, por la oportunidad de estar aquí con ustedes. Es un honor inmensa. Thank you for the immense, profound honor of being able to speak with you today. Muchas gracias.